We're really interested at Lyric Opera of Kansas City in the notion of artistic literacy. How do you connect personally and meaningfully to works of art, and through that process, forge connections to our shared humanity? We, of course, are interested in building engaged and passionate opera-going, arts-going audiences for today and the future, but we want people to go deeper in how they interact with the art.
When I heard this piece first, it always sounded to me like this is the book when I was reading when I was a kid. I read a beautiful book by a Polish poet. It's called Sesame Tales, and it's about the common things, happiness, about love, about good and evil, and they are told in a way that are very clear to even the youngest of us.
That there's a lot of kids that I feel like don't really relate to kings, gods, villains, and so finding these situations that are very realistic and happen to any one of us, I think has been one of the coolest experiences.
The Haberdasher Prince, written by composer Rosabella Gregory and librettist Dina Gregory, is a story of authenticity. It's a story of celebrating what makes you, you.
In the story, he's in a kingdom where his father rules with an iron fist, and he is not supposed to be sewing. Sewing is a lowly thing for peasants and villagers. In fact, he's expected to play an instrument, like his father, who plays this silver-stringed instrument called the gilrabi. But the problem is the prince is not musical, and nobody wants to tell the king. And when he comes of age, he's forced to go and do a royal tour and play concerts. Nobody wants to say what the other person is thinking, which is that he's playing horribly. So he keeps doing these concerts until one day, a village girl is in the audience, and she stands up, and after his concert's finished, she says, "But the prince plays horribly." The gilrabi is an imagined instrument. It symbolizes something, but the actual instruments have got 4 silver strings, and it's played with your thumbnail. It's a bit gross, but you think about the very sort of tip of your thumb here. You'd slide your thumb along a string to create sound, which creates this natural glissando. So it's got really smooth, sustained sound. So it sounds sounds like the human voice. So in fact, in the opera, you never see the instrument, and we're embodying it with voices. So the 4 silver strings are our 4 different voices. And these 4 voices, when the gilrabi is played beautifully or well or with skill, sound harmonious and fluid and pleasant. In fact, it's magical when it's played well. Maybe I should start by defining what a haberdasher is, because it's a bit of an old-fashioned word. So in British English, it's a person that sells small items for sewing, so like ribbons and cloth, different kinds of fabric. In American English, it's often somebody who's selling men's clothing. In our opera, the prince is both. He loves to fashion clothes from fragments of cloth and string and buttons, and so he gets the name of the Haberdasher Prince.
Well, Prince Panderbash is a very youthful individual. I say his soul's very young, and he's also very young. He has some father that has great expectations for his son, that he has to be this, he has to be that, and if he's not, it's like, he's not my son.
So the village girl is the daughter of a seamstress, and she's kind of meant to follow in her footsteps, cleaning and mending clothes. But she finds she's actually a talented musician as she learns to play the gilrabi.
I started off my career in a completely different direction, as he has.
I wish that I had had this opera when I was a kid, to see it and say, no, I can go do something else.
I made a change, and that was hard. It was very hard to do. The prince is the same thing. He is on a path, and it doesn't feel right.
Well, we work with designer Stephen Kemp, who many people will be able to see his work on the tour of Shrek that's coming through later this year. But he has crafted sort of this pop-up fairy tale looking book. We have a lovely sort of 3-dimensional castle that sort of is our backing wall, and then the trunks and various pieces that set up sort of the world we are in. All of the pieces that the actors will use will come out of 4 various trunks for each of the characters. So that means any crowns or canes or things like that, they will sort of be able to pull up and pull out. So when we see them first, they are just kind of a blank slate, just the narrators of the piece that then get to act silly and start becoming all of the characters, many characters of the Haberdasher Prince.
So we'll have a couple of musicians. We have string ensemble consisting of a violin, viola, and the cello. Beautiful section of percussion, which is going to imitate some beautiful sounds. We have a lion's roar, we have a baby crying, some beautiful magical sounds. And we have a piano doubling such a last as well, and we have a quartet of singers. Haberdasher Prince is based on Indian music, which involves not only Indian scales and also rhythms, complicated rhythms, sometimes a little difficult to all the musicians, but once we get them together, they sound very natural. Those sounds really bring that magical fairy tale to life.
So I was trying to think about the instrumentation as who's going to tell the story the best. And I did have to think about the forces as in, I need some bass end, I need some high end, definitely want something percussive to really drive him. There's a lot of dance music in here, as in music that has groove, and there's the rhythmic element is important because music for me is a physical experience as well.
I feel most adults can still see themselves as children through children's eyes if they allow themselves to access that parts of their personality. We all know those people who have a playful spirit, we would say, or a youthful spirit or something like that. You know, the prince is exploring, the village girl is exploring, even the queen is exploring, and that is something we do at every age, is explore, whether it's trying a new restaurant, reading a new book. You know, we're exploring, we're expanding our horizons, we take a trip somewhere we've never been before. That's all exploring, and that's a basic human place where we can connect.
We have committed to a robust program of education and community engagement. So this entails work in the schools, work in our beloved Kansas City community, and the Haberdasher Prince really marks the start of a new initiative for us. And that initiative is producing works that are suitable for families, intergenerational audiences to experience together. The Haberdasher Prince will tour to 10 community spaces in Kansas City in the month of April. We are breaking down barriers of access, and beyond just presenting the work, we're being really intentional about holding discussions after each performance so that audiences can connect the dots between the art that they're seeing on stage and their own personal lived experiences.